r/askreddit. What's acceptable to have to explain to a child, but unacceptable to have to explain to an adult? Basic hygiene. TBF, I was never really taught or made to brush my teeth. So it never became a habit. And 3 teeth are gone cause of it. Had I been made to do it when I was younger, I'd have dentures that are worth more than shit. Edit. The amount of people that can relate to this in some way is astonishing. Cleanliness in general. Like, wiping the seat off in a public bathroom if you piss all over it. Grown-ass adults should know that's not someone else's problem. Not everything on TV is real. Some people on the internet lie to you. When The Martian came out in theaters, my family and I went to see it. After the movie ended and we were walking outside of the theater, I heard someone say, "I wonder if he had to use his poop as fertilizer in real life." Something along those lines. My grandfather once rage quit an episode of Bonanza because he didn't understand how an actor who had been killed on the previous week's Gunsmoke was alive in a guest role, playing a completely different character. Edit. The actor was on 2 different shows. Please stop asking why they would bring an actor back after killing him. Especially reality TV. Even though you bumped into that person and knocked their items out of their hands by accident, you still need to apologize. Just the general concept of things you do on accident are still your responsibility. Why we cover our mouth nose when we cough sneeze. And how to cover our mouth nose when sneezing coughing. Do it into your elbow crease, not your hands, people. Teaching the concept of personal space. Too many adults do not understand it. A man was standing so close to me in the supermarket queue that I had to ask him repeatedly to take a step back. Every time the queue moved forward, he would be jammed up against me again. In his incoherent response, he seemed very concerned that I wasn't jammed up against the next guy in the queue too. As if that was just an open invitation for random people to jump into the gaps ahead of us. I have, on multiple occasions, been witness to my wife screaming "get off my dick" to complete strangers for this very thing. She does not have a dick, BTW. To be fair, some of that is cultural and varies even within the US. I'm a private tutor. I've had to argue with too many parents who disagreed with me over simple concepts like how to add fractions, but I'm billing them $80+ an hour, so I'm fine with spending a bit of time explaining basic ideas. Edit. Yes, I charge $80-200 per hour. I only advertise my services in rich neighborhoods. Also, it's not like poor people are at a disadvantage because they can't afford my help. I'm actually quite useless. Math teacher here who works with adults. If more people got those basic concepts down before graduating high school, fewer kids would struggle, because there are so many parents who don't know the necessary math to help their elementary school children with homework. Edit. To clarify a couple of things, I'm not blaming parents for not learning math when they were in school. I'm saying the parents were done a disservice in their own education. Also, there are plenty of other reasons that a parent could have trouble helping with their kids' homework. I'm speaking to a specific group of adults, because I work with them every day. Yes, I agree with you that there are some things in high school math that not everyone needs to know. And I definitely agree with you that K-12 math education in this country has a lot of problems. I don't agree with those who say that parents shouldn't need to help their kids with homework. However, it's important for kids to see multiple ways of solving problems, and it's equally important to normalize math, to show kids that it's something everyone can do. Many people have this idea that there are math people, and that they aren't one. Math teacher here. I had to have my assistant transferred because she kept trying to correct me during lessons. She kept a calculator and would test my math in the back of the room. I was spending more time telling her how she got it wrong versus teaching the kids. SMH. Hey, you know this better than me. Please help my child. I will pay you. You proceed to teach them. Hey, that's wrong. That's not how I do it. I should know. I'm paying you to teach because I can't. I've tutored before, mostly chemistry and a little calc 1, and it's infuriating to have either the person you're helping or the person who's paying you try to critique you. One time in college I was in the math club's tutoring room getting help on a particularly difficult PChem problem, and a sociology major came in for help on her stats HW. One of the first things she said was, "I don't even understand why I need to take math. I'll never use it." Kind of think that understanding basic statistics is important for a huge number of reasons, but okay. The tutor proceeded to explain how to solve the problem. This is paraphrased, the real conversation was much longer. The girl stopped her and said, "We don't need to know that. You need this to solve the problem. We don't need to know that. Who's your professor?" "Emma so and so." "Okay, there's another method to solve this, but it's much longer and more difficult to learn, and to the best of my knowledge he teaches this method." Raising her voice, "We don't have to know that." At that point the tutor put her face in her hands and literally screamed. How it isn't okay to throw a tantrum when you don't get what you want. My favorite reaction to this situation: "What were you hoping to achieve with that display?" My father recently has this problem. He doesn't know it, but he throws a calm tantrum at people when he doesn't get his way. It's everything someone would say in a tantrum, but said in a casual manner, but still not letting the other person speak back to him. I had to explain to him that he was being rude when he was told there was currently no parking where we're staying last week by the receptionist. Both him and my mother disagreed and they felt entitled to something above everyone else. My dad legit had a tantrum because his launch Xbox 360 stopped working last week. After living with a 32-year who behaves like a 12-year for a year. Don't shoot that slingshot in the house. Don't take other people's things without permission. Don't go through other people's things without permission. Don't trespass on private property. Don't eat candy for every meal. Don't follow a bear around in the woods. Don't chase the livestock. Don't torment the pets. And the list goes on. Being an adult means you know you shouldn't shoot the slingshot in the house but choose to accept the consequences of shooting the slingshot in the house. Hadn't so like this too. Don't stick your hand down the unknown animal burrow in the backyard was something I had to verbalize. Did he have a band called Mouserat by any chance? This sounds like a Kevin story. Where babies come from. No shit, I had to explain this to a 19-year-old who got his girlfriend pregnant. He seriously thought that because they were both virgins, that she couldn't get pregnant. She did. When I was in the 8th grade my friend was complaining about tampons and how she would never put anything up there, so I asked her how she was ever going to have sex, and you could see the light bulb come on. A couple years later she got knocked up and I always felt guilty about it. Edit. We were both in a private Christian school with absolutely nothing resembling sex ed. Glad her parents took their job seriously. What? You're saying it's possible for a virgin to become pregnant? I mean, maybe they technically haven't had sex, but surely there must have been some way the sperm got into the egg. Clearly his girlfriend must have cheated, right? Edit. Oh, are you trying to say that they were both virgins, but then they had sex, and therefore she got pregnant? I had a dumbass friend who legitimately thought two nuts cancelled each other out. That they should take responsibility for their mistakes. That nobody else made them do the bad thing they did. Or that your own personal beliefs and way of life are not objective, and that there is an entire world outside of the small corner of the world you live in. A lot of close-minded adults end up being the entitled ones because they think they are always right. How to eat with your mouth closed. I recently, privately, asked my mom how my sister managed to grow into adulthood chewing with her mouth hanging open. She said she gave up in her teen years when nothing she did was making a difference. I find it appalling when people chew with their mouths open. Especially adults. I had to explain to a high school classmate what periods were. He thought that girls just started bleeding from all 3 holes down there. We need better sex ed. Edit. The 3 holes refers to the vagina, urethra, and anus. The urethra and vagina are separate. Edit 2. Thank you for the silver on this terribly weird story time of mine. To be fair though, when I had sex ed, the boys and girls split up for that part. They talked about periods and we talked about testicular cancer and self-exams. I'm more surprised he knew females have 3 holes while not knowing about periods. You would be surprised how many guys, and that's not just boys, think vagina has a single opening for all uses. LMAO. I literally had to explain periods to a 4th year university student. He thought periods were like needing to go pee or take a shit, like it was just a 3rd thing that girls needed to go to the bathroom for, as if we can choose to go release our period blood rather than bleed constantly for several days. I couldn't believe I had to explain the concept to a grown man. If you're bleeding from either of the other two, it's time to see a doctor. Unlimited breadsticks are not really unlimited, and that you eventually have to order something. To someone who flipped a table while shouting, "I shall no longer patronize the Garden of Olives." No way, you served Thor. A local morning radio show host I used to listen to absolutely dragged one of his co-hosts for this. She went to Olive Garden, ordered food but filled up on salad and breadsticks, so she just left. Didn't pay anything, didn't get her actual order, just up and left. This girl was so dense. 3 people spent 20 minutes trying to explain how she was wrong and she just didn't get it. How to clean after using the toilet. Edit. Clean yourself, not the toilet. Edit 2. Both. I'd like to add basic hygiene to this. Wash yourself and your clothes. How to do basic functions. Wiping your ass, using a knife and fork, tying laces, etc. How do you wipe your ass using a knife and fork? Edit. Yes, the 3 seashells. Got it. Edit 2. Also love that people are saying very carefully, "This is my go-to comment when anyone asks me how to do anything." Why they have to repeat 3rd grade? Thanks a lot, next semester I'll be 35. This comment is glorious. That you shouldn't kiss, hug, touch, sniff complete strangers. But did you know if you put your ear up against a stranger's leg you can distinctly hear "What the fuck are you doing?" Way back a long time ago I was really drunk at a bar the day before Thanksgiving. I was bald at the time. Still am now, but was then too. I saw that my brother was trying in vain to hit on a girl that clearly wasn't interested, with her friend looking on amused. I went up to the girl who he wasn't trying to hit on, softly grabbed her hair and said, "I really like your hair. It's super soft and I miss mine." We ended up casually dating for a few months. I would not recommend anyone try that, though. At this point, Joe Biden is too old to learn to use their inside voice when they're speaking too loudly. Sometimes it's time to use no voice. My parents constantly tell me to quiet down when we're in public together. That is, when they're not asking me to repeat myself. So I have to be loud enough for you to hear me, but also quiet enough to pass your indoor voice test. If I owned a phone I'd communicate with you entirely through text messages. Oh boy, I know. Sometimes I have to tell my parents to use their indoor voices, even more my father. They are retired teachers and, sometimes, they talk with me, 3 feet away of them, as if we were in a classroom 30 feet away of each other. The importance of keeping your hands to yourself. That the earth is, indeed, not flat. The earth isn't flat. Nor is round. Come on people, don't you get it? It's obviously earth-shaped. Any lessons you could easily find in a children's show. Prime example, Bronies. When the new MLP series and Bronies were at their height, I was in my early to mid-teens. I watched the show because my similarly aged friends all liked MLP when they were younger or had fond memories of it. I didn't grow up here in America, and I wanted to relate to my friends more. And I have always also liked cartoons, anyway, even if they are simplistic and the messages of the show are pretty obvious. Be nice to people you don't understand, apologize to your friends when you have wronged them. Don't lie to others just to please them. It was nuts to hear 20 to 30-year-old, grown-ass men talking about those lessons like they were revelations. When I was in college, I overheard a Brony seriously explain to his other Brony friend why the, obviously, shitty thing he did was just like the, comically obviously, shitty thing Rarity did in one of the episodes, and Brony no. 2 had a galaxy brain moment. I couldn't believe it. This children's show was written to give children a basic understanding of how to deal with issues as they grow up. It's meant to be a stepping stone to more complex issues. And it was being referenced by 20-somethings in college. It's like watching an adult just learn that if you add 4 quarters together, you get $1. Nah, man, you should have known that 15 years ago. I can't really hate some of these Bronies, though. Maybe some of them are on the spectrum or had developmental issues growing up, or grew up in a very macho or repressive household. I will hate on weird horny bronies, though. I guess that's another one that's unacceptable to have to explain to an adult. Please don't beat your meat to the fictional child horses. I have borderline personality disorder due to childhood trauma. I actually started watching several episodes of videos for kindergartners about understanding our emotions and managing them, and learned a lot. That's why they became bronies. They lacked social skills and were ostracized. Then they found a TV show that truly is about the friendship they missed out on. Edit. Grammar. Look both ways before you cross the street. That's survival of the fittest when they turn 11. We don't vote for someone just because they are male or female. We vote for them because we agree with their politics and or think they are the best for the job. In the last local body election I copied all of the candidate statements and removed the names. Picked my favorite one based entirely on what they plan to do. Then figured out which candidate matched the statement I liked and voted for them. Women have a urethra and a vagina. Pee and menstrual blood don't come out of the same hole. As a female, 17, I didn't learn this until I was 15. Insane how it's not taught as often as it should be. Respect for their fellow humans. Please and thank you. Why they shouldn't masturbate in public. Wait. That's an issue for both parties? The concept of sharing. Communist propaganda spotted. Consent. You're. There. Two. That showering is a societal requirement. Sweets and other treats are okay in moderation, and it is important to get some sort of exercise, even if light walking. Why it's not okay to remove your pants to piss at a urinal. Why cruelty is wrong. Manners. Wishing something is true does not make it true. Openly farting in public. Especially when there is a work colleague right next to them. They don't do it to be funny either, they just do it. The same person doing a giant sneeze without covering their mouth all over the cups and plates on the drainer and just saying oops and walking away, and yet again the same ignorant person putting the door fobs in their mouth when we just get issued a random one each day. The company weirdly gets though massive amounts of hand sanitizer and antibacterial wipes, haha. 3 simple things. Don't keep farting on people, they don't like it. Cover your fucking mouth when you sneeze and get that out of your mouth, other people have to use that. Oh yes. And lastly, a late 4th. Stop microwaving bags of broccoli, cauliflower and Brussels sprouts in the break room. They stink like your ass and make us feel sick. This is something really specific, but new brother had to explain to his friends that reptiles and reptilian were referring to the same thing. They thought that reptilian was someone you would name your kid. This was one day before they graduated high school. How babies are made. I had to explain this to a 25-year-old FRND. She thought they magically appear from glowing light like it's shown in Indian soaps. When you explain that it's not necessary to get a treat for pooping in the toilet or not peeing in your underwear overnight. That there's a difference between being assertive and being an asshole. If there's a way to make your point without being cruelly blunt but you choose not censor yourself, then you're not being brutally honest, you're just being brutal. Edit. Word. Vaccines don't cause autism. Furious tantrums aren't a good look. That you shouldn't play doctor with a 5-year-old. When you want somebody to move, we say excuse me, not move it. My supervisor didn't take it well when I wasn't gonna take his rudeness. Don't pee on the toilet seat. If you accidentally pee on the toilet seat, wipe it up with toilet paper so the next person doesn't sit on it. You cannot ask strangers personal questions.